James, I know you mentioned Patrick Fryermuth yesterday, but he made a pretty good block on the run, Scrum miles, and came back. What have you seen from Pat in particular?
Yeah, he's very mature. He's very physical. You know, he's been upper 250, low 260s. Really, since he's been here, he's strong. He's powerful. Carries his weight the way you really want football players to carry their weight in their lower half. It hasn't seemed too big for him, you know, and he's approached it the right way. So I think right now the coaches have a lot of confidence in him. I think you'll see his role continue to grow as long as he keeps approaching it the way he has so far. To be honest, I only saw the highlights, you know, while the game was going on, and then we communicated. I sent him a message and he responded back, but I only saw kind of what was posted on the internet, which was good. And then I saw Joel Klatt kind of sent me a message because he had made a comment that Saquon couldn't be an every down back in the NFL, and then I messaged him and said, I'll bet you dinner, and then he posted that he owes me dinner. But that's all. I just saw kind of highlights and things like that.
James, I apologize for asking this now because I hadn't seen the Pitt game on TV, but in the fourth quarter, you were really animated, more so than I think we see you a lot of times. Was there a specific reason you were so animated? Did you want to get a message across, even though you had the big lead?
No, I think, you know, more than anything is there was some things that I didn't think we were doing well late in the game, and you know, I think one of the things for us, it's just kind of in my DNA, and it's kind of how I'm built. Whether it's the first quarter and we're down by 7, or whether it's the fourth quarter and we're up by 21 or whatever it is, we're not going to change kind of how we do things. So we put the ball on the ground a few times. We just were sloppy, and we have a standard of how we do things. And score doesn't dictate that. Weather doesn't dictate that. You know, we're going to play up to our standards and expectations. So, you know, I want to see us finish well. You know, I thought we did some pretty good things, but we didn't finish the way we should have finished.
James, is there any aspect of your passing game that concerns you, particularly through 2 games?
No, I think we put the ball on the ground, you know, a few times in terms of fumbles and drops. But also, you know, obviously we didn't have ideal, you know, conditions, but we should still, you know, be able to make some of those plays that we did make on Saturday. But besides that, I've been pretty pleased. I got a lot of confidence in Juwan. I got a lot of confidence in DeAndre. So I think we'll be fine.
James, you mentioned the GAs yesterday. What are the quality control guys? What do they bring to the table? What do you rely on them to do?
I think it really depends. You kind of have a bunch of different models with the quality control guys. So you have some people that have quality control guys that are, you know, NFL coaches that maybe are out of work and still under contract, or coordinators that are out of work and still under contract. Or you have kind of that next kind of philosophy where you have a guy who maybe got done being a GA and isn't quite ready to be a full-time coach, so that's kind of the next step, and we kind of got a mix of that. So you got Larry Lewis, who's coached at every level and been a head coach and been a coordinator, and so obviously what you're relying on him for is experience and a sounding board. And then you got you know, younger guys with less experience that are fulfilling some of the GA responsibilities and things like that. And then you got a mix. So it really depends. You know, for us, we have it set up kind of differently for each guy in what they bring to play to their strengths, while also developing them in some of the areas that they need to improve on. So it's really specific. I think some programs you see they have a model, and this is what they're looking for in that position. And for us, it's really the best available, and then kind of play to their strengths.
Do they let you plan? Do they work ahead? Does that help you with that?
Yeah, so both the GAs and the consultants will try to stay ahead, so that come Sunday, the only thing that we really need to do is get that last game done. Sometimes if we're playing a night game and then our next opponent's a 12 o'clock game, they may be able to get that done in the hotel and be able to get a head start, but they pretty much should have everything done, so all we're waiting is to put that last data from that last opponent that played the same time we did, get that in, and then they can run all the reports and all the cut-ups and the edits and things like that.
Not to jump the gun too much here, but how will that change next week? Because you guys will have that quick turnaround Saturday and then playing Friday night.
How will what work?
As far as process with you guys, and will you bump everything up a day?
Yeah, we'll have to bump everything up a day, and we obviously won't have our day off, and right now it looks like we're going to have a bunch of class conflicts because our guys load up on Monday and we have to practice Monday. So I was hoping we could find a way to work around that, practice early in the morning or do something, but we couldn't find a solution. So it's another reason why I'm probably not a big fan of the Friday games, because it just doesn't fit our model and causes a lot of academic issues for us.
James, what did Kevin Givens do on Saturday that was maybe missing from your defensive line previous weekend?
He wasn't there. Yeah. I mean, he's an explosive guy. He's got great lateral quickness. He's really strong. So, we added one of the more explosive players that we have on our team. We added one of the more experienced defensive linemen that we have. So obviously, combination of those things, he's gonna have a big presence. We expect him to have a big year and continue to grow on what he did last week.
James, in terms of the tight end position, is the plan moving forward to continue by committee, or are you kind of looking for one guy to step up?
Yeah, I don't think we ever really say that our plan is to do things by committee. We do that until someone clearly takes, a hold of the job and creates a separation from the next guys. If there's no separation, then we keep rotating. And that doesn't always mean that you're not pleased. You could have three guys all playing at a high level, but just not one of them is completely separated. So, the dynamics of that, can be different. But, we never really necessarily say we want to do things by committee. It's all waiting for someone to really kind of establish himself and separate themselves from the pack.
James, does like a tempo team, does that change how you substitute, and does that change like maybe the process on the sideline of how you get guys in and out of the game?
Yeah, it does, and we had to change how we practice. So we did some tempo periods in the beginning of practice, good versus good. Typically, they are high tempo on first and second down, not necessarily on third down. So yeah, that all factors in. Everybody kind of has different plans. A lot of times people wait to substitute until the ball's on your near hash, obviously, because you got less distance to get those guys on and off the field. Obviously, whenever they substitute is an opportunity for us to substitute as well. So yeah, there's things that we are planned and prepared for. I wouldn't say it necessarily changes how we do things, but it magnifies how we do things, if that makes sense.
So you would expect the same guys to play the same plays as if it weren't, the same rep counts as if it weren't a tempo team?
Yeah, you'd hope so, between what we're going to do on offense and hopefully being able to create some 3-and-outs and some turnovers. You hope so. Obviously, that's not their game plan. They want to wear us down, obviously.
At the beginning of the year, you take everything a week at a time. And I'm sure when you get the schedule, you can look at it and go, we want to be as close to 100% to what we're trying to do by this point. You at least know that internally. How does the schedule layout impact what becomes acceptable progress at week 3 versus week 4 versus week 5?
When you say 100%, I'm not sure I'm following you clearly. So
we have to bring our A game by week 8 versus week 5.
Yeah, I wouldn't say we necessarily look at it like that, because I would hope that we're still getting better towards the end of the season. So I guess instead of saying we're at 70%, we're where we should be in terms of this week at this point of the season. Now, should that look different the following week? Yeah, we should continue to grow and evolve, but I wouldn't say it's like we're at 60%, 70%, 80%, 90%, 100%. I just want to gradually get better kind of throughout the season, individually, collectively, and not everybody does that. They'll have a couple good weeks and then they dip off, and have a couple good weeks and then they either don't improve or level off. We just kind of want to keep chipping away at it. I think that's where really you make true progress. If you spike too much, it's hard to sustain it. So you just kind of want to keep chipping away at it. So when you're looking at that curve, it's continuing decline. In my mind, it's not like I sit here and say by game 4 we have to be here. I would say I'd agree with you when it comes to the younger players. I think you would say that you would hope that the young players that you're playing by game 4 to 5, they are ready to have more of a true significant role and go from maybe getting 8 to 12 reps early on to just get them some experience, where by game 4 or 5 you feel like they're ready to legitimately rotate in and play significant time, at critical moments. So I would say it happens with that, but overall as a team, we don't necessarily look at it like that. Does that make sense?
Is there any way to accelerate the process? If you know you're going to be at 60% X number of weeks in the season, but you know you have to be at 70% to beat somebody. I mean, and then you factor in young guys that you're trying to develop. I mean, how do you get to where you have to be by a certain point in the year?
Yeah, again, I don't look at it like as 60%. You went back. I don't look at it that way. I look at it as we got to be ready to play this week at the highest level we can possibly be, based on where we are from an experience, from a youth, and all those types of things. And now that should look different the following week. So I just don't look at it in that way. I do with the young players. I do think there's a different expectation for them clearly when they haven't played in a college football game in games 1, 2, 3, and 4. But then by games 5, 6, and moving forward, they're not rookies anymore. There's an expectation. And how do we do that? It's not like we come here and we say in practice that this is acceptable in week 1, but it's not acceptable in week 4. It's not acceptable in week 1, and we approach it that way. But with the young guys, it's going to evolve.
We're about to speak with Matt. How have you seen him progress here in 2018?
Yeah, he's just, I actually think his baseball experience was good for him. He got some playing time. And whether it's football or baseball or basketball or whatever it may be, I think that experience was really good. He managed the baseball responsibilities, the academic responsibilities, and still getting some work with football really well. It was kind of complicated for us because he still had to follow all the same guidelines in terms of number of hours and things like that. So it was a little tricky, and we had to make sure we were communicating really good with baseball to get that done. But he's always been a guy that the game of football makes sense to him. He's one of those athletes where you can say something to him and he can transfer it to the field. You can do things in drill work and it just makes sense to him where to be, how to use his body, spacing, concepts. He's just a natural athlete, a natural football player. I think probably the biggest difference with him is he's gotten bigger and stronger. His body has started to physically mature. He's still got progress to go there. He's still not the biggest guy, but I think I just see him, his poise, his confidence, his strength, and now he understands the scheme and the concepts, and he already understands the game in terms of spacing and leverage and those types of things, and body position, body mechanics, that he's really doing some good things. We got a really good group of receivers that we have a lot of confidence in, and I think they all complement each other. They're not all the same.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.